Gaming, or N9 even, going up against BLZN here. Let's check it out. Look at that fancy transition, the whole fading and whatnot. Now, obviously, this isn't our on-tour coverage, so but we got a little bit different production and whatnot. Oh, my keys are falling all over the place. Anyway, so obviously, N9 on the Legion side, BLZN on the Hellborn side. The blind band's taking place. You got Ophelia Parasite coming out here from N9, and then we have a Wild Soul and Keeper of the Forest over here for BLZN on the Hellborn side. So they go both the Wild Soul and Keeper of the Forest. Very strong blind bands here, Charles.
Yeah, and then with the locks started off with Plague and Bubbles, there's nothing out of the ordinary here. Very little to talk about, as this is pretty much a rinse and repeat for every single game, it seems like, in top competitive Han. Is, lots of junglers, the most powerful junglers, and Suicide Heroes, but Keeper, Wild Soul, Ophelia, Parasite, those are all very, very strong junglers. And then more of the same in the lock pool with junglers / Suicide Heroes. And then a couple stun initiators as well, being both, well, actually, I'll look at those three. Fade, Magnus, and Pebbles. And then, of course, Bubbles and Plague. So, again, more of the same. There's another Suicide Hero in Pharaoh. And this is actually moving along quite quickly.
Yeah, again, these may be two teams that we haven't necessarily covered a whole lot here on Honcast. I mean, players we never cover. I didn't even recognize any of these players, to be honest. N9, at least we recognize some of their players, but never really covered lately. But doesn't mean they don't know what they're doing. I mean, these teams definitely know what they're doing. Again, Gold and Diamond respectable in terms of the Han Tour division. So you got to think that they have plenty of experience behind their belt. They know what they're doing, especially when it comes to the picking stage. And we kind of see that right here. I mean, there really is nothing too crazy, to say the least, as we are advancing on here fairly quickly. Again, starting a little bit late here. BLZN, actually, they thought it was supposed to be an hour later, apparently, because that's how the rest of the event usually takes place, an hour later every single day. But because the finals are best of 3, where the rest of the event is a best of 1, it is actually started an hour earlier. Anyway, so they're here. That's what matters. And, of course, we have game number 1 on our way. So Tempest, Dark Lady, and Warbeast are so far going to be the 3 bands right here coming out. So interested to see, of course, how that follows up. But, again, just to reiterate, more and more people tuning in and getting a little bit settled down here. So this is the second qualifier, as they call it here. I believe, again, there's 8 qualifying tournaments. Now, as far as what's on the line for this qualifying tournament, so this is the finals. If you win this, not only do you qualify for, again, that main event where there's apparently a $40,000 prize pool and prize and money, a lot is on the line there, where you're also going to be joined by 8 invited teams. So far, Complexity and Trademark, I believe, have been the 2 announced teams that are invited. I think every single qualifier they're going to announce a new team. But you're also competing for first place of each qualifier gets 5 Sound Blaster sound cards, and actually the runner-up team gets 5 headsets from Sound Blaster. So you're going to go away with something at least, no matter what. But obviously you want to win it, not only for you can even say a better prize, but also, of course, the qualifying is the big part. So just to reiterate there.
The bands have finished up pretty much, again, more of the same. Nothing too out of the ordinary at all, really. Tempest, Dark Lady, Warbeast, Silhouette, Draconis, and then the final band is Legionnaire. And first pickup is Moon Queen. There was actually a lot of hard carries banned out this time than normally. Normally we actually see Silhouette and Draconis, and even Dark Lady all still available, and heroes like Zephyr banned out, Demented Shaman banned out, Wretched Hag banned out, or even Meraxis. But the hard carries are a little bit more valued here, I would say, as both teams ban them out. But Moon Queen gets first picked up by N9, and then Engineer first picked over here for BLZN, along with Forsaken Archer.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Engineer, Forsaken Archer, pretty solid, of course, as far as your go-to carry option and a very sound support. Moon Queen, though, the first pick coming up for Pew here for N9, and now following it up with Aluna, actually, so far. And then we'll see how they finish things off here. But again, you look at the lock pool, very, very strong lock pool. You got suicide potential, you got initiating potential, as you're talking about. They're going to go Behemoth as actually their final pick here is N9. So definitely curious to see how they run that Behemoth actually in this lineup. We have seen before something like an Aluna Behemoth lane with Behemoth actually the farm hero. So kind of curious if that's what maybe we should expect here, but we'll see.
I love the combination of Aluna Behemoth. I've always been a favorite of that, or I've always seen that's a favorite of mine. And I remember actually back in DreamHack summer 2012 when Fnatic was playing then, and the one thing I picked up from them is they looked so fantastic then, as they obviously won that tournament, and hats off to them. But they ran Aluna Behemoth, those 2 heroes, so often, every single game they could, they would first pick both of those heroes. Like, it wasn't even a question what else would be picked.
Yeah.
And they just valued those heroes as to be very strong heroes and tri-laning in any lane, and then start roaming around with Luna Behemoth, because the long-range spam synergizes so well together.
Yeah.
So I love to see those combinations. Because we see all the junglers banned out, we're going to see some tri-lanes here.
Yeah.
And I got to say that a Luna Behemoth, if they are going to go in some kind of tri-lane / roaming style up in the top lane or bottom lane, I mean, they do have a good suicides up in that pool. It's going to free up a lot of space and time for Moon Queen to get the farm that she needs.
Yeah, it's not the trial, and of course, for the 2-2-1 setup even. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see again how that ultimately plays out. Obviously, we got to go into the lockpicking stage here, and Pew is apparently not too certain on who exactly he wants to go with, spending a decent amount of time here as far as his first pick out of this lock. Well, usually it seems pretty obvious, but I mean, I could understand why. Again, there are plenty of options here. There isn't necessarily that obvious pick, at least to me. They are going to go Pharaoh actually as their first pick, and I mean, you got Fade, Pebbles, Plague. You got a bunch of powerful heroes there, so a little bit interested with that pick. But
I actually would have taken Plague, taken Plague actually. The reason is you have a very, very strong defensive tri-lane if you want, and Moon Queen's the type of hero, especially with Draconis, Silhouette, Wild Soul, Dark Lady all banned. I honestly think that the best carry available in the pool then would be Moon Queen, and being able to guarantee her farm. And if you know you can get to the late game and just play a passive game, which you can with the Luna Behemoth supporting her early on. Oh, actually Pebbles was in that pool as well, and Pebbles gets picked up.
Yeah.
But I would have taken the Plague, because that means if Plague gets picked up right here, I don't know for sure if it's going to, but that would be a little bit more annoying to deal with if you do tri-lane in your short lane against the deny effect. And I think having the deny effect on your own team would be great. Not to mention, if you look at the heroes you'd be up against with the Plague ultimate, it's not like any of them have disjointable spells. Like, I mean, they could have picked up Magmus and Bubbles, but, you know, Glacius and Engineer and FA, they're pretty clunky. Like, they can't really maneuver very well in team fights. So that Plague ultimate would be very effective.
Bubbles is going to be the final pick up here. So we got the Pebbles combination coming out here for BLZN as their final two picks. So again, I mean, they have what could be trialing potential, or I could just as easily see them going to 2-2-1 setup as well, depending on how they really want to approach it. So the final pick coming over here for N9, I mean, you look at that pool right there, I'm thinking Fade is maybe an option here. Again, if you are going to run a defensive trial, then you got Pharaoh, Suicide, and Fade mid. That's definitely possible. You still could go Plague Rider, I guess. Yeah. Just run Pharaoh mid. They're going to go Magnus, however. I can't say I saw that coming, actually.
Me either.
But that probably means it's not going to be a trial lane, instead more of a 2-2-1 setup themselves. Huh.
I think it still could be a tri-lane. I think it still could be like a Magmus Luna Behemoth tri-lane.
Oh, that's, yeah, I guess.
If they really want to, then solo Moon Queen, solo Pharaoh. I don't really know. I think their heroes are kind of awkward, and I would have liked to see the Plague much over the Magnus right there. But they do have a lot of stuns. Actually, both teams really do.
Yeah, they actually quite a bit. In fact, yeah, everyone over the Legion side technically does, and then excuse me, you got your Hellborn team, and you know, again, depending on how you consider crippling volley and whatnot, but a lot of CC, a lot of crowd control, basically, in this game coming out for both of these teams. So yeah, it's definitely going to make for a pretty chaotic game, and perhaps more of an aggressive game, which is always more entertaining to see, of course. But yeah, very, very curious to see how especially N9 goes about this laning phase now with that final pick. I mean, Magnus does go to Hatchet, heading bottom so far.
I think it's going to be a solo mid-Magnus.
Okay.
He's just walking down here to roam with them early on for maybe a potential level 1 gank. Maybe they can catch Bubbles, who is going to be in the suicide lane before he does ward that camp. And that would be very, very good for them. But yeah, Magnus, it does look like he's going to be in the mid lane soloing. And you got to wonder, like, if they were, you know, thinking about their last pick as a mid lane solo, why not pick the Fade? I feel like Fade would have been much better, because I think Fade functions a little bit better with levels and not farm. Actually, we see some initiation onto Pink right there. Bubbles, he's trying to get the shelter, but he can't do it. Good staggered stuns coming out. And Brodex, 5 level, gets the Bloodlust kill there.
Yeah, Brodex 5 level. That's interesting. Damn, you thinking Codex and whatnot, but it's all over the place. Anyways, yeah, very good start, of course, for N9. Sky Griffin, he just saw it a little bit too late, unfortunately, and that, you know, it shows you the power also of Moon Queen with that 1 second stun on her Moonbeam. I mean, if it wasn't for that, they would not have gotten that kill right there, because Bubbles would have easily reacted and then fallen back most likely. But the 1 second stun set up the Lava Surge, and then eventually the Behemoth follow-up, of course, as we saw. So you mentioned Magma's going to go bottom, perhaps to set up a Bloodlust kill. Sure enough, they do accomplish that, but actually has gone middle now, and a Luna too is going middle, it looks like. So it actually is going to be more of a 2-2-1 setup. Now, Behemoth Moon Queen, that is a kind of a very odd, you know, setup in itself. It seems like kind of a two-man lane, but
it's fine. The fact that they're up against Suicide Bubbles, Behemoth can actually keep Bubbles out. And this is one of the few things I see teams not do is, you know, you can still out-harass Suicide heroes with the melees. Like, you can have a support Magmus in this kind of lane too, or support Behemoth in this case. And even though they're melee, it still works out. Not to mention, they did get a kill on the suicides, so it's going to be that much easier. In fact, he was the one, this behemoth, was the one who is now sitting at just about 1,000 GPM. Of course, that's bugged, as he's played it a bit. But
best farming ever.
But now we're going to see this dual lane mid, and then you're going to accomplish basically the same thing that you would accomplish, maybe not as much, but basically the same thing you'd accomplish if you had a tri-lane down here in the short lane against Bubbles. And not to mention, you're going to be spreading out experience a lot better this way.
Yeah, expect for a very chaotic mid lane as well. I mean, you got that Magnus Luna going up against a Pebbles Engineer. Expect some good, some initial stuns to come out and then chaos to ensue after that. So definitely intrigued to, again, see how that middle lane especially plays out with the kill potential that we see here on either side. Definitely either side could get a kill here. Do you see an advantage for either one of these dual lanes here?
I actually see the advantage to Pebbles and Engineer. We see some aggression actually though onto Pebbles. He is going to take a lot of damage there from just the level 1 stun and level 1 nuke from Luna, but has a health potion, should be fine for now.
So you think the Pebbles Engineer though is just a little bit better?
I do favor that, yeah, but with, of course, I mean, you did get some assist gold in the Bloodlust kill on both of these heroes. Actually, Pew didn't get the credit for the assist, only Magnus, so it's not that impactful. But yeah, I still give the edge to Pebbles and Engineer, but anything can happen. It's still a little bit even.
Now, Fibelli here on this Moon Queen, well, there's two things to note about Fibelli. One, he's Greek, so good man there. But two is actually, this is a player, he's actually been around for a while. He's kind of known as being the top of the MMR ladder, wow. I get confused ever since that team, but anyways, the MMR ladder, just being up there, if not first place, definitely top of the ladder. So he finally found a home on the competitive scene, it seems like, with this N9 team, and obviously not playing even in Diamond Division. Again, I really haven't seen a whole lot of him myself, but I know he's also very active in the in-house and whatnot. Speaking of the bottom lane, by the way, Bubbles in a little bit of trouble as Behemoth coming in for the gank. Middle lane, there's also some action, but no kills going to result of it. It looks like Behemoth even with the block, but Bubbles goes right over it. But yeah, just kind of an interesting note about Fibelli. I mean, do you have any insight on him as a player?
No, I know that he plays, a lot of carry and goes some kind of interesting builds and item builds. Like one time on Moon Queen I watched, like, what was his item build? I think it was Geometer's Bane Rift Shards first on Moon Queen. Specifically Moon Queen. Actually, Pharaoh is in a lot of trouble up here in the top lane. Moon Queen trying to get as many auto attacks as she can before she gets the volley. And Pharaoh actually traps himself to his own demise. And he will fall to the likes of Pork Chop actually playing that Forsaken Archer. So good kill up there in the top lane.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Zinz was thinking there, honestly. I guess ultimately he was thinking that maybe he could get a return kill on a Forsaken Archer. Maybe he just thought he was dead anyways. But I don't think that was the case. I mean, if he got a good Mummy Wall up and ran away, then could have very likely survived. So kind of definitely a misplay there, I think it's safe to say, coming out from Pharaoh. And that is actually going to help Pork Chop here on Forsaken Archer that much more. In fact, he's kind of been doing his own thing up here, but he is up there with Moon Queen as a top farm in the game, of course. Granted, Moon Queen seems to be slightly better. When you look at the creep kill, it is 22-13 Moon Queen compared to his 17-9 Forsaken. So it does seem like at the same time, Forsaken Archer has actually missed out on a couple of creep kills here and there, and that can definitely be a big difference maker, early on in this game, of course. So, but getting the kill nonetheless, a very good start there at that top lane, and she does seem to be doing very well besides that. So
yeah, middle lane is going to be pretty volatile here. Actually, we see the stun from Magnus. Engineer's trying to save him, but he can't do it in time. Too much damage, too much spam coming out from the Legion side, and Pew gets credit for that kill. He's going to check top lane as a result after that. Glacier's already camping up there, but nope, it spawns bottom, where Purple is actually Behemoth. He gets the illusion, not before Bubbles gets his Shell Surf out, but he's going to have to go all the way back to base because he has no more HP, no more mana. He does have a health potion, but there's really no reason to use it when you have no more mana to use that Shell Surf to get away.
Yeah, again, like I was curious about what Pharaoh was thinking. It seemed like Pebbles was actually hanging in there a little bit with not the most life pool right there.
Yeah.
And obviously, he got initiated on and eventually killed. So wrecked right here playing this Pebbles. I mean, maybe wants to be a little bit more careful about that. But back to the top lane, not seeing the kill, but we do see the text pop up, and sure enough, Zinz does again get taken out. So Forsaken Archer's GPM will go even that much higher, and they're going to start applying a good amount of pressure to this tower more than likely here in the near future. So Pharaoh doesn't seem like he's having the dandiest of times here at the top. Granted, his counterpart in Bubbles also isn't really having the best of times.
Yeah.
So it's not like either both of them just seem to be doing just not too well here.
Yeah, and I would have liked to see a shield actually early on onto Pebbles. He's just taking way too much auto attack harass from Aluna in this lane, and that means he can't get CS. That means he can't be aggressive when he wants to, because both these heroes have ways to interrupt their combo. Like, the Aluna stun can disjoin it, the Magma stun can disjoin it, so if you go on one hero, you can expect the other hero to kind of screw up your combo just a little bit. So that being said, it's kind of hard to stand up there and get enough damage onto them before you actually even really need to combo when you've already been at half HP, because you don't have that shield mitigating lots of auto attack damage from Aluna.
Yeah. Something I'm actually just noticing, well, talking about the suicide versus suicide, Pharaoh is level 5, where Bubbles actually just hit level 3. So he does have that actually working for him, despite being 0-2, compared to, of course, the Bubbles being 0-1, who obviously died at the beginning of the game. But yeah, back to the middle lane you're mentioning there. I mean, Magnus now is 25-8 compared to a 20-3 Pebbles, actually. Again, without that shield, he's going to get jumped in right here. Here comes Behemoth even for some assistance. Going to try to line up Fisher Stun. Will get it off, but actually perhaps on the wrong side that they were hoping for. And Pebbles will get away now. Glacius running in. Tundra Blast already used. Trying to put some more pressure out. He does have a freeze, not using it just yet, but in the end, not really going to be able to do enough for any counter kills. So neither side getting a kill out of that. Again, it just seemed like Behemoth's Fissure, if it was on the correct side, they very likely could have taken out Pebbles. So unfortunate there. Invis Rune going to be bottled up in the meantime by Pebbles, and he'll actually get some regen as well. So staying alive.
Yeah. I think it's, honestly, I saw Glacius' farming items. I saw him coming down with strides. I'm like, what the hell? Glacius strides. It's a pretty greedy play because they don't really have any wards up right now. Actually, bottom lane yet again, no, I heard some animation canceling. But they do have another ward placed right there. Actually, no, it's not another one. It's just placed pretty late by Bubbles himself to block that camp. But yeah, okay, finally a ward does get placed here to spot out the rune. And thank God for that. It's actually placed by Engineer, who has absolutely nothing right now. There is a Invis Pebbles right here, but I think the Legion team knows something is up. Yeah, they must have seen it taken, because they're literally sitting at their tower when otherwise they were playing pretty far up and pretty aggressively.
Well, so yeah, so kind of go what you're talking about there, though. You're pretty much saying, spending that 300 extra gold into upgrading to Striders perhaps could have been better off with at least a couple Ward of Sights there. Yeah, extra.
I think if anyone should be second support, it's Engineer, not Glacius, because I think Engineer scales much better to the late game than Glacius does. So, yeah, again, I think it's kind of a greedy play there by Glacius, but not exactly the biggest deal in the world.
No, so Lagman's going to be used right there, trying to follow up on Pew. Playing that Aluna. Keg stun won't really connect on anything, however, as Magnus did stun in, but just really doing so to prevent Pebbles from following that up. So Pew was, Pew playing this Aluna, he was actually a pretty good distance right there, so not really in the most vulnerable of spots, but Hellborn team definitely trying to make some kills happen, but a lot of clumping up here in the middle lane between both teams, really. I mean, you got Behemoth this year, Pharaoh's actually at the yellow camps now, Zin's just trying to get any type of farm going. Again, he is level 5, if he can hit level 6 here shortly, he can actually perhaps set up a gank here for the Legion team and then kind of work off of that. But yeah, right now it seems like it is a case of this is a game of the hard carry farming. I mean, we got Moon Queen versus Forsaken, and Forsaken slightly continues to be in the lead here. Does have Ghost Marchers, another 1,700 gold saved up, whereas you have Moon Queen with Steam Boots and about 1,500 gold saved up herself. So both doing very, very well, though.
Well, that last little initiation in mid is exactly what I was talking about. You have the initiation from Pebbles, but Magnus just disjoints the combo. You can't go, and actually, speaking of combo, here comes a stun onto Pebbles, the Behemoth stun as well. There's a stun from Aluna. She already used a spam, but it's not enough. Oh, actually, it is enough, actually, as he does fall. They tried to actually get the combo on Magnus, but he will be okay for now, and as he's going to go back to base to heal. So, yeah, definitely Legion is in the great spot right now early on.
Yeah, it seemed like Rifle, they were playing that Engineer. He actually missed on a couple of auto attacks. Seems like he was in panic mode a little bit. Understandable in the heat of the moment, but he started running back. But if he continued to auto attack that Magnus, he could have very likely gotten the kill. But again, maybe just a hindsight deal, and maybe Magnus still would have lived in the end. But just at least, I'm pretty certain that he at least missed a couple of auto attacks right there. So unfortunate, but we are just passing the 9-minute mark, and as you mentioned, it is about a 1,500 gold lead, 1,300 experience lead here for N9, so definitely the advantage for them. And again, it continues to be Moon Queen and Forsaken Archer, both very, very near in farm. It seems like Forsaken Archer can definitely have a stronger earlier game impact, of course, especially with pushing and team fights in general. But it's at the same time, I mean, you're letting a Moon Queen basically free farm herself, and she, of course, will eventually be the more dangerous of the two, you'd figure. So. It seems like this is a trade-off that, well, if you're N9, you're actually pretty willing to take this.
Yeah, definitely. And every time you have like a Behemoth on your lineup, that should tell you that you're a little bit more passive. And Behemoth is just great for canceling follow-up. Like, you have initiation from Pebbles, and then Behemoth stuns everyone behind him, and then Pebbles is like, where's my team? Well, they all got stunned by Behemoth. I'm talking about like mid to late game.
Yeah.
Early game, yeah, it's still effective, but it's really effective in the mid to late game, especially when you get a portal key up on Behemoth. But Moon Queen versus Forsaken Archer. Forsaken Archer is a hero that can actually, she can carry in the late game, and she can actually dominate pretty well early mid as well because of her strength in pushing. But she did go the early Ghost Marchers and is actually the Blessed Orb as well. We see Glacius might be in a lot of trouble right now. Look at that. The stun actually coming on to the mid lane on both Pebbles and Engineer. They might try to pursue this Glacius. Striders will not activate because they're too close, and a stun not even close to Glacius. As Magmus goes in, he gets silenced actually out of his Steam Bath. And Luna's going to try to cancel the follow-up. Good job by Pew. Actually hits 3 with a stun. There's a stun actually from Behemoth. Not stun, but power throw. And more action. Moon Queen comes in with the Moon Finale. Gets 2 heroes. Double tap off the belly. So the short lane carry coming to make some plays.
Both teams honestly making some big mistakes right there. It started with the Magnus. You're right. He was nowhere close. That wasn't like, oh, just that was a good 200, 300 range. It seemed like short. So unfortunate miss right there. But in the end, you know, perhaps a blessing in disguise because that did get BLZN to play a little bit more confident themselves than really they should have. And obviously we saw the end result right there. And Moon Queen's like running on over. He's like, oh, a couple of free kills. I'll press R. Sure enough, 2 kills later. And he goes back to the bottom lane now. So that was just horrid for BLZN in the end. I mean, the fact that not only it ended at your disadvantage in hero kills, but both of them a double tap going to Moon Queen on top of it all. Very, very scary. So her GPM now 436 gold per minute. And so, but again, you were talking about Forsaken Archer. She's sitting on a very, very solid 400 GPM herself, and she can definitely have perhaps a little bit more of an earlier game impact, and definitely early, mid, and even some late game potential herself. But going the Blessed Orb route, and then the 1100 gold saved up. As actually, she needs to be careful right here. She's standing her ground. She wants to get the tower kill, but at what cost right here? Luna with the great stun coming out. Pharaoh's to follow up now. Luna will fall, however, to Forsaken Archer. Forsaken Archer now trying to get a kill as well onto this Pharaoh. She does have crippling volley up in 1 second. Will she actually get a counter kill? Oh my god, she is. Wow. Porkchop holds her ground and gets a double tap. What was I saying? Needs to be careful.
Yeah, no, that was a really smart play by Porkchop. I thought he could do that from the beginning. And the stun actually from a Luna canceled the ultimate was pretty unfortunate. If it hadn't even done that, it would have been a much larger slaughter. But that was just kind of a sloppy play from N9 as well. Like, they should have known that, you know, even though it's 2 against 1, and you had Tower there for a second, Forsaken Archer hits pretty damn hard, especially right now with the free from that she's had. So you can't take it for granted.
Apparently not. I mean, that was ridiculous right there, what Forsaken Archer was able to do. So now, what do you think? Is this actually going to be a Null Stone or a early Geometer's Bane here?
I think it should be a Geometer's Bane. I think Null Stone would be pretty silly this game.
Okay.
It will block perhaps like a Hellflower on Pharaoh, but he's not going to get that anytime soon at all. I think just getting items to maximize your farm. In fact, I was going to criticize him just a little bit for even getting the Blessed Orb early on. I feel like if you're going to have a passive game against a Moon Queen, trying to maximize your farm and damage might have been a smarter route rather than go the defensive route with the Blessed Orb. And because Blessed Orb is such a cost-inefficient item, I think Firebrand would have been a little bit better. Obviously, it doesn't matter now because she doesn't have to buy anyway, and it's fine right now. But she is farming well, and like I said, she can make plays in the mid to early game or early to mid game. So once she gets that, hopefully it's going to be a Geometer's Bane item pickup, then we can see some more active play as a team coming out from BLZN.
Yeah, again, she is headed back. Okay, it is going to be the Firebrand purchase, a little bit shy of the Geometer's Bane recipe, but okay, well, actually, she actually just sold it. So, ooh, she goes a Whispering Helm instead. So, kind of changing her mind a little bit right there.
Yeah.
Going the Whispering Helm route. And, yeah, I mean, that you were just making the point, though. Firebrand for just to kind of just farm against this Moon Queen, get the better of that. But in the end, going the Whispering Helm. Now, speaking of Firebrand, Moon Queen has her own Firebrand, and she actually just pushed in a bottom tower with it right there. So, not a huge fan of that choice.
I would be fine with the choice if she had Steam Boots over Ghost Marchers. Like the Ghost Marcher's slow attack speed with lifesteal just doesn't make sense to me ever, unless you're maybe a Silhouette. But even then, I still don't like it. So yeah, and if she was gonna go for the Whispering Helm, why not go for the Firebrand before the Blessed Orb? Because that tells me you're in it for the long haul and you want to farm. But is that really what you want to do against the Behemoth, Pharaoh, and Moon Queen, especially Moon Queen? Like, I don't think it is. So I don't really know how I feel about that pickup. Not a big fan.
Yeah, I definitely I see what you're saying, and I tend to agree with you. I mean, it just seems like you're kind of you're committing yourself to more of a I'm gonna just try to farm against this Moon Queen and then hopefully have the better result in the end. But this is an interesting game because you look at the GPM chart. It's kind of like you got the 2 carries up there, then you got the everyone else is not doing that great. I mean, you have a Magnus and a Pebbles on either side kind of following it up. Magnus seems to be a little bit better than Pebbles, but neither one's going to... Actually, Magnus is actually doing pretty well. He does have 1,300, 1,400 gold saved up, so he could actually have his portal key here in the near future. And that, of course, that could be a game changer here, as usual, for N9. So we'll keep an eye on that, especially comparing to Pebbles. But we do see Forsaken Archer, so she does go the Whispering Helmet and everything, but now she's going to group up with her team, actually, it looks like, and to maybe do a little bit of a push here in the middle lane. So we'll see how successful this is, or even if they keep at it. It's definitely going to be a big fight if they go for it, it looks like.
Yeah, Haste turns up onto Pebbles for a little bit of time, actually, right now. He's trying to find somebody. He actually ran into the Magnus there for a second. Not going to connect with him just yet, though.
Yeah, we do see again Pebbles really wants to blood. They're going to find each other once again. There's a combination on Magnus coming out. The follow-up, and down goes Magnus right off the bat. However, Forsaken Archer will be initiated by Pharaoh in the meantime. And down goes Forsaken Archer. Here comes our Moon finale from Moon Queen in the meantime. She's joining the party, trying to pick up the hat trick. Will at least get 2 kills. Going for the 3rd. No, the Moonbeam's being canceled right there. She's trying to finish off Engineer, and she definitely should be able to. Holy crap, are you kidding me? Is Rifle actually going to juke? No, he will not. Hat trick coming out. That was very close to a quad kill. You see Bubbles. That was all Moon Queen right there.
Yeah.
One more auto attack, and then he would have died as well. So all across the board, that just worked out beautifully for N9. And obviously, as far as BLZN is concerned, simply put, Forsaken Archer got caught right off the bat, and you can't have that happen. Yeah,
and that Moon Queen ulti did so much damage. It is level 2 now, so it propagates what 7 beams, I want to say total. Yeah, 7 beams. And I just don't get the order of BLZN's, like, how they're trying to order things up for their team. Like, I'm going to get farming items on Forsaken Archer, then I'm going to group up as a team before I have a portal key on
Pebbles,
Pebbles, which by the far he's very, very very far away from. And yeah, I just don't get it. Like, maybe if you went for a Geometer's Bane then grouped up, like, that would make more sense. But I'm going to buy a farming item, then I'm going to push with my team, then I'm going to die. Now my farming's going to be pretty bad. Like, just the order that they're doing this just doesn't make any sense.
I agree with you. Yeah, it definitely it just kind of seems like a little bit out of place here from BLZN, and so you kind of hope now again with the route that Forsaken Archer is going, make it. But it's at a point like, sure, so yeah, yes, you could do the right thing now and sit back and perhaps try to farm more, especially with the item builds that you win and whatnot. Wait for your portal key on Pebbles, if anything. But you've just put yourself even that much further behind. We do see Wrath of Pharaoh going to initiate on Engineer here in the meantime. Pebbles trying to get a counter. He will be successful on Magnus. Engineer dying in the background. And Pebbles still alive, though. And he's going to make it another kill, actually. The double damage root is up. Dropping a Pharaoh, though. Needs to be careful. Shell Surf. Oh, the power throw will connect. Kit the kill on Pebbles. But Bubbles comes in, gets a reverse kill onto a Luna. Double tap for Sub Rogue right there, who actually was channeling that Glacial Downpour in the midst of it all as well. So a pretty chaotic fight right there. And I think it is safe to say our Hellborn team in BLZN did come out on top. So good news for them right there. Pebbles did die, so once again will be distracted or delayed, but so did Magnus for that matter. And so that means he will be more delayed as well from his own portal key. But Geometer's Bane, by the way, just finished on Moon Queen.
Yeah, I'm surprised he actually won that fight. Just a little bit of sloppy play coming out from Legion, honestly. But Moon Queen, yeah, she is just farming ridiculously fast, and she will continue to farm faster than Forsaken Archer because she has Steam Boots, and she attacks faster, and she has the Glaives. And her Glaives are obviously much more effective than any kind of split shotting that Forsaken Archer can do, at least right now. In fact, for the entire game, for that matter. Like, it's just a much better skill, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, you can propagate things like, Frostwolf Skull or Shieldbreaker from your split shot, or split fire, I should say. But, right now, it's really not effective, so... yeah, I mean, you did have a good fight right there. You had the double damage rune up on Pebbles, which is probably the most effective hero you can have a double damage rune on, but he simply just needs a portal key. Like, he really, really needs that. And he needs that because of the build-up Forsaken Archer has. Like, she's going to keep farming, while the other team, or the rest of their heroes, need to be grouping up and fighting as a team.
Yeah. Wrath of the Pharaoh was actually just missed right there. Didn't even see it. But actually, Moon Queen driving in now. Moon Finale activated. Beam with ultimate in the background. Not really doing a whole lot, though. Okay, Moon Finale was not activated. He kind of just did the cancel animation right there. But he's going to push the tower in the end after using the Geometer's Bane. So no hero kills actually happening as a result of that fight right there. But that's a big item. Big up. Magnus does finally finish his portal key and is being delivered to him right now. So again, obviously,
snipe.
A very big... Oh, the Parathos snipe. Unsuccessful onto who was he going
Glacius.
For? Glacius.
Maybe been Bubbles too, but Bubbles has an auto cast health. Take cover, so that was really close.
Very, very close. But Pebbles in the meantime, another 1450 himself. So again, he's really trying to get that portal key. But the 4 deaths obviously slowing him down quite a bit earlier on in this game. He's going to combo right there to quickly get some quick kills. Unfortunately, misses the last one, but does have 1625 gold now saved up and counting. So Getting closer and closer. We'll see if he can pick that up before another big fight actually takes place here in this game. Definitely something that BLZN really, really needs. But again, you compare the two. You got Moon Queen 560 gold per minute now against Forsaken Archer, who's just over 400. So again, very respectable for Forsaken. But you are falling back behind more and more against this Moon Queen. And it is showing another 2,500 gold saved up already on Fibeli with the items that she has. We're only 20 minutes into this game, by the way. It seems like we're much further in with what's going on here.
Yeah, and Geometer's Bane just picked up on Forsaken Archer, so Moon Queen's just got basically a whole nother item on her, like another 3K up on the Forsaken Archer. And it's just, honestly, it's just a more effective hero in the late game. Like, some heroes are more effective than others in the late game, and Moon Queen's definitely one of them. And giving her this much farm and this much space early on. And actually, here's the Eruption on the top lane with a new freshly purchased portal key onto Bubbles the hook as well. There's a power shot from Pew, and it connects, so Sky Griffin goes down. Good gank right there in the top lane.
Yeah, nothing that Bubbles could do. He just ported up there to farm up the creep wave. Nothing wrong with that, but unfortunately for him, that portal key already coming into use here for Magnus, setting up the kill. Now, Pebbles does have enough gold for his portal key as well. There he goes. In fact, he purchases it right there. He's level 10. So here we go. What kind of use is he going to be able to make out of this? Now, obviously, getting it later on, you do have better items all around here on the Legion's team. I mean, hell, you got a Luna with the major totem on top of the power supply. So she herself is also more tanky now. Going to be more difficult. Middle tower does go down in favor of the Hellborn team, so...
I mean, there were two heroes right there farming agents, and they just let their mid tower go. Like, that's pretty complacent. Pretty interesting play right there. They did get the triple stack ancients killed right there, and as a result, look at Moon Queen, 4,500 gold now saved up.
Jeez.
Now with the Pebbles portal key, you can actually start initiating and maybe pick off kills on hopefully the Moon Queen. Like, you need to stop her farm at all costs. 615 GPM for her, and you can do that if you get a couple heroes around that Pebbles to set things up. Like Moon Queen, yeah, she it hits like a truck now. She has a lot of farm. She can farm faster than anyone at this point, and she will carry hard carry late game, but she can be killed quite easily, actually.
Well, and on that, sorry to cut you off there, but I mean, on that is that the minor totem she actually just sold right there. But I was going to say, though, she's sitting on a minor totem, at least to replace that with a Mystic Vestments, because you definitely need one of those against this Hellborn team, especially now with that Portal Key Pebbles. So, yeah, we'll see if at the very least she does that. But actually, okay, she is going to go straight Shrunken Head here as her next follow-up item, and still has just nearly another 1,000 gold even saved up. So, yeah. Yeah, Shrunken Head, obviously an item that makes sense here. It's going to be delivered right there, and has become a little bit more tanky now, unfortunately, as a result of that. So,
unfortunately for the Hellborn
team, yeah. Because you were obviously just talking about how they can definitely kill Moon Queen, but got a little bit more difficult now. Forsaken Archer does have the Mighty Blade herself, so very likely. Again, she really is just like an item behind, though, at this rate, and kind of continues to be that case. So.
Again, I just don't like these item pickups on Forsaken Archer with the Ghost Marchers. Like, if she went Steam Boots, this would all make sense, because this would be a very late game oriented build that she'd be going with Steam Boots, being able to, propagate the lifesteal and then have that Symbol of Rage go off at late game with good attack speed. But she just has such a low attack speed, and that Mighty Blade most likely is going to turn into a Shrunken Head as well, and she's just not going to do any damage. Like, her damage output is pretty low unless she uses an ultimate and it's placed perfectly, but when you have blinks up onto basically Pharaoh, like the hook kind of acts like a blink, and Magnus with his own blink, like, it's going to be really hard to get an effective ulti off.
Glacius actually just purchases an Astrolabe here, so you mentioned this earlier, how it seems like he's actually being more of the secondary support. It seems like Engineer is really just investing all of his money into buying the wards. He does have boots, but that is basically it. But Glacier at least having an Astrolabe for the team, obviously or that is a good thing, of course, coming up for BLZN.
Yeah.
Bubbles, on the other hand, he really has had minimal impact this game. Again, I can't say I'm too surprised. He wasn't that suicide roll getting locked down earlier on. Nowhere close to a portal key himself. Obviously, he still has his ultimate and whatnot. He could still be useful, but can't really maximize his potential, unfortunately. So another key that really isn't there right now for BLZN in the big picture. Top tower will easily drop right there in favor of N9. No resistance put up whatsoever. Moon Queen, by the way, is level 17 as well. I mean, Fibeli is just going off, man. Yeah, in this game here. Well, we got a big fight perhaps brewing, though. Pebbles does have a region rune activated. He is ready to go in. He tries to jump a little right there. Not the greatest combination, though. And here comes the Moon Finale being activated. The Shrunken Head, of course, is up in the background. Forsaken Archer is jumped up by Pharaoh, trying to do something in the background. Not going to be nearly enough, though. Meanwhile, up here, Magma's actually getting away as he was in a little bit of trouble. Moon Queen will finish off Engineer, though. Hat-trick coming out in favor of the Legion team. The only one to die was Aluna, who she actually survived the initial impact, and now Bubbles also going to get caught, and Magnus will actually pick up the kill onto him. So it ends up being a 4-for-1 exchange. Forsaken Archer is still trying to find somebody, but it ain't going to happen. So N9 just even furthers their lead there as a result of that fight.
Yeah, fantastic job by Brodex 5 level. As he did exactly what I talked about, why Behemoth is so strong as it comes to the mid to late game is the initiation from Pebbles onto Luna, but immediately, like he immediately stunned behind. Couldn't even really see anything, but that's exactly what you have to do. You have to disjoint the follow-up from the enemy team. And as a result, I think it almost even screwed up Pebbles' combo. I don't know if he screwed it up himself by missing part of the stun or whatnot, but it didn't do very much damage to Aluna.
Yeah.
Now, she does have Vestments, actually a decent chunk of life, but nonetheless, great stun by Behemoth, and then Moon Queen. That just, as Pebbles portal keyed in, and Moon Queen is basically right in front of him, that just gave him all the time in the world to use. Pop that shrunken head. He knew he was going to get an effective ulti off, and it was. Like, very effective. Hat-trick coming out from the belly, nearing that 700 gold per minute mark.
I mean, just before that fight, too, I just mentioned he's level 17. Now he's 19. He got 2 levels there, basically, within the whole fight. He is now 5 levels higher than Forsaken Archer, on top of just being the GPM that he has, which is, of course, quite a bit larger as well than Forsaken Archer. So, it seems like both you and I, you especially, really saw this in the making, though, for earlier on. It kind of started with the choice here from Forsaken Archer, she went Firebrand initially, actually. She sold it, though, and then she changed it into a Whispering Helm. Then that's where they kind of grouped up, though, and then that fight just went horrendous for them. And then all of a sudden, the lead started to work here for N9, and it just has kind of been that same story since then. So N9 is obviously in a much, much better position now. 12,000 overall gold lead, just over 10.5 thousand experience. And you do have Forsaken Archer cleaning up some Ancients right here, and trying her best to finish now what would be that Shrunken Head follow-up, but you already have Moon Queen with the Shrunken Head, of course, finished for a while now, and look at that, another 5,800 gold saved up. So something like a Wing Bow, I mean, could just go like those Rift Shards, just more raw damage even. Pebbles is going to get caught out here at the bottom lane big time. The team just completely collapsing on top of him. He will get a combo off at the last second, but obviously just not nearly in time, and he just easily falls. This could start snowballing here for N9 if BLZN's not careful.
I think it already has.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
700 GPM Moon Queen, and what I've seen actually a lot of people do, and I said earlier on, the FBLA did go that Rift Shard route that one time, and actually did not work out at all, but did pump out a lot of damage. But what is the item called? The Shroud into Genjuro.
Yeah.
It's actually ridiculously powerful on Moon Queen. Like I mentioned all the time, it's just one item slot. That's just a very beefy one item slot. And for that reason alone, like you start to come out to this point where you got your standard items like Symbol of Rage, your Geometer's Bane, your Shrunken Head, and then 2 other items after that. On Moon Queen, well, perhaps maybe a Wing Bow. After that, what do you get? You just need another item slot. There's nothing really optimal except maybe a Genjuro, because it's a great agility item packed into one item.
Yeah, we do see Engineer coming over, sitting right on a ward of sight that was just recently placed by Behemoth, because the Legion team is attempting to do Congo right here. They got some decent wards up, so they definitely know where the Hellborn team is at, and they're trying to be sneaky. You see Behemoth is going to Fisher Stun right there, causing Pebbles and Bubbles a little bit of an issue now, as they're kind of trapped in right there. But Pebbles is screwed. I'm going in. They want to go for Moon Queen, and they make hit Moon Queen. No, in comes the counter from Behemoth in the background. The Moon Finale, the Eruption main channel going off right there. First second Archer dropping like a hot. He will fall. Double tap, make that a hat-trick coming out from Moon Queen. Engineer, the sole survivor. He's probably going to die here, though. I think I saw a vote. You can say no, I didn't. But actually, down he goes. Quad kill coming out from Moon Queen. I wouldn't be surprised. In fact, there you go. There's a vote to concede. GG, well played is being called. Yep. It will be official. N9 will take game number 1 here in this best of 3. Pretty dominating there, especially at the end. I mean, BLZN, I guess they didn't really have many options there. They went for a little bit of a risk there, trying to jump them at Congour. Obviously, it wasn't going to happen. They got close to killing Moon Queen, but not close enough. Moon Queen finished 12-0-1, by the way. 736 gold per minute.
That's what Moon Queen will do. If you stack properly, you give her an easy lane, you have a good start. They had the Bloodlust kill on the Bubbles, who was a suicide hero early on, and all that makes a huge difference. And then also, I was going to say one thing in that last fight, and it totally slipped my mind, and maybe I'll have to come back to that. Yeah.
Yes.
Totally slipped my mind.
Yes. I mean, Behemoth with the counter. You had the Eruption, obviously, going right there. Forsaken Archer pretty much did nothing that whole fight. So.
She would have got the Annihilation, but Bubbles died to Congour.
Oh.
She had that quality. It was so close. I know. I was like, come on.
Well,
Kongor
Ruining everything.
ruining everything.
How dare you, Kongor and Bubbles.
All right, though, that is going to wrap things up for game number 1, though, of course. So with that said, obviously it is a best of 3, so we'll see what kind of response BLZN has. I mean, the draft overall, not that bad at all. It definitely, they played it solid, but, you know, perhaps not the greatest decision-making, especially when it came to items and just grouping up as a team and whatnot earlier on in the game, and ultimately, and now was kind of able to start snowballing from there. So, but we're going to take a quick break here as always, but we will be right back. Game number 2 coming up around the corner. Sit tight, guys. We'll be right back.